Peace. What's the science, universal family? On another glorious day of the science of living mathematics. The science of living mathematics. And again, got busy over the weekend. Went go-karting for my niece's birthday. Of course, I passed her. Hitting them corners like I should. You know what I mean? Only like an uncle should. You know what I mean? So, just spending the day, with the fam, wasn't able to drop a video. And obviously, as the holiday season for them, is getting closer, it's more family time. You know what I mean? But either way, it's gonna have to do a double header. You know what I'm saying? So yesterday's mathematics was knowledge, understanding, all being born to cultural freedom. The 13th letter in your alphabet is M. M in the supreme alphabet stands for master. How do we look at that? Because what is a master? A master is one who knows and understands their craft, inside and out, fully aware, knowledge, and knows the inner workings of the purpose of how things within work, understanding. The question becomes, do you have knowledge and understanding of self where you are your own master? Where you are in full control and know how your body operates and how it communicates ailments or anything to you? Right, in order for this to be possible, you have to be able to apply the knowledge and understanding as a part of your way of life. Each and every day, each and every way. This is how you become free. Not just free from others and stuff like that, but free from your lower self. You understand? Free from where your body is in control. In a sense of where you would think you lack discipline. And I know I've gone through it when I became an adult, because I'm an adult now. I don't have to think about, should I be eating this or not? I could just eat because I want it. Versus growing up, you have your parents to kind of be like, no on things, even though you wanted it or whatever. This is how you learn to truly master self, by first being aware of self, of who you are, within and throughout you. Once you come to that awareness, you start to figure out the process, why things work the way that they do in your body, or even things that's outside of you, how they work just at the fundamental basis. This is where the understanding starts kicking in. This is when you start to apply it each and every day, all the time. Every day, don't forget, you got to be persistent. People always say you got to be persistent when you want to attain goals. But how is it that you can be persistent with everything outside of you, but never you? You want that beach body, you want this, all that is is being put that it's internal, but it's really external. It's to show others, oh, I'm healthy, I'm this. Man, you could have all the muscle mass that you want, but if you're not healthy mentally, physically, and emotionally, then you're not good. You know what I mean? And this is why we say strive for perfection. And that doesn't mean, well, nobody's perfect, because I don't like that. That's projection, negative projection. We strive for perfection because we are always changing things within self, finding more efficient or more advanced, you know what I mean? Just more advanced things for ourselves. And I don't mean it in the physical sense, like materials. You know, it's more of a thing to kind of upgrade yourself with things that make you happy more. You know what I mean? And that has to do with being a master of self, because you get to a point in your life, maybe depending on how much experience you go through, or just a certain age that you just hit, and you realize this is what I want for me, or I don't have to accept this from anybody, whatever that is, you know, and that's right and exact. As a master, you determine ultimately what you're going to allow in your presence. And you have the total right to do that because you are your own master. You know what I mean? You know what you want. You know where your goals lie. And you know what you need to do in order to get that. You understand it. And if you don't need, say, certain gossips about you or gossips about somebody you care about, then you don't have to accept it. You just don't. That's what master is. A master is not always trying to show people, oh, look, I'm a master of this. Because everybody, you notice, everybody who's always talking is never about what they say that they are. You know? A master doesn't have to prove to you nothing. All they had to do was prove to self. The only time you have to prove something to others is if you're there, you know, blabbering about, oh, I got this, I got that, I'm a master of this, I'm a master of this. Man, shut up, prove it. Okay, let's see. Show and prove. You see, when you know and you understand and you apply this, you realize you don't have to sit there and make it known to others. Hey, I finished reading a book. I finished my work, teacher. Look, I finished. Okay. Move on to the next subject. You know what I mean? That means that you're seeking for gratification outside of you. Because you want people to be like, oh, that's dope. Yo, that's nice, man. Yo, good job. Yo, keep it up. Yo, keep your head above water, yo. Come on, man. That's all well and good in certain aspects of social interactions. But when you see something within, it's not so you can tell others like, yo, look, I did it. If you're not teaching, giving examples to those who are striving to learn about your experiences of how you got there, all you're doing is just saying what you got, then you don't really have knowledge and understanding, you know? So let's look at that. Learn to apply that. Now, let's move on to today's mathematics. Knowledge, culture, or freedom, all being born to what? Power or refinement. What is your 14th letter? The letter N. And what is N in the supreme alphabet? Now nation, or end. How do we apply this? Giving you guys a few seconds to kind of get your minds working, get those gears going, oil those gears up. All I hear squeaking, and then, get it going. The knowledge of the culture. What culture? The true and living culture. That is your natural state of divine righteousness. Is that of knowledge of self and living a righteous way of life, teaching those that do not know the proper culture, where you learn the right foods to eat. You're not just eating because it tastes good. The right clothes to wear, appropriate clothing. None of this half nakedness just to make you feel good or whatsoever, or dressing for somebody else, or even the music, the things that they're saying, looking at that. You see, and everything is applied to now, because now is the only thing that's real. Yesterday's a memory. I know you guys heard this. And tomorrow is an imagination. And how it plays out is based on what we do now. Now is the only thing that's real. Right now, boom. That was just the past. Doesn't exist anymore. You understand the present, what's so important about that. And it's about being aware of your true culture, of who you are, not living a culture that was forced onto your ancestors, and you carry that on because they were broken down and passed that on down your line, and now you live it with no resistance. See where the issue is? What is the foundation of this culture? The foundation is you. First, you got to be aware of self. You know what I mean? It's knowledge, culture, or freedom. So it's knowledge, culture, or knowledge, freedom. How do you knowledge freedom? It's by being aware of the true meaning of words, the true meaning of things. And I say this all the time. Freedom doesn't mean you get to do whatever you want, because you're not dealing with penalties right now or later, or you might even get away with it. That's not what freedom is. Freedom is not what these countries tell you what it is, that you can do whatever you want. Freedom is to be free from struggle, to be free from all this misinformation that they're shoving down our throats. Pause. All this lies that we're being drowned by it. It's like, oh, it's free. Yeah, you could do whatever you want. You could do whatever you want. Don't worry, we got a pill for that. We got a procedure for that. We got a shortcut for that. But it will cost you. You know what I mean? That's not what freedom is. It's like looking at atoms. Atoms want to exist in their natural state, in a state of equilibrium. This is why it requires a lot of energy to separate atoms that have bonded together and they're neutral. This is why the noble gases are so hard to get a reaction out of them, because they have all the energy levels filled. And so there's no need to want to bond with anything else. You look at how oxygen works. Oxygen is quick to just, let's say, rip other particles apart because it wants to bond so badly. It wants to be at the equilibrium, it wants to be at peace. You know what I mean? And it's like existing in its natural state. And we want to exist in our natural state of peace, equality, righteousness. Why would you want to live a way of life that you're not free, where you're constantly being told what to do, you're constantly being tricked into buying materials? Think about that, where we're just mindless consumers. You have to see that there's an issue with that, where you're not using your creative process, your creative thinking. Everything is right there for you. You don't have to think about anything. We're losing how we exercise our minds, how we utilize our brains. Think about it. Back then we had to memorize telephone numbers. Now you don't have to. We had to memorize routes and how to get to certain places, how to get to family members' houses and whatnot, friends' houses. No, you don't have to. Right? So your memory power drops over time, right? Where we become so simple-minded, where things that are normal now, it's going to become almost like, oh, genius level. Oh my God, you got a C minus? Oh, genius. Applauding the mediocre. And what's going to happen is they're going to build these artificial intelligence that is going to be basically what we do now. We're going to think like, wow, look how smart they are, because it's dumbing us down. You know what I mean? So by realizing and being fully aware of this way of life that you live in, you realize that it's now is the time. It's not later, not next week, not when you go on vacation. The time is now for you to build a proper nation that is not going against the natural laws. It's not hurting the planet. You might not see it because you might have a nice yard or anything like that, but all the garbage that we get rid of, think about where that goes. You know what I mean? You gotta build a proper nation of righteousness. We have to end how we do things now. That is not the right way to do things. And that's because we lack knowledge overall. Not just knowledge that you saw something on Google or whatever it is, or you saw a video or anything like that, but just true knowledge, proper knowledge of self, proper knowledge on how to apply these things to your surroundings, how to grow crops, how to save the seeds for the next harvest. But nah, we made it easy for you now. You don't have to take the seeds out. Watermelon without seeds, grapes without seeds, oranges without seeds, all these fruits without seeds, and that's not good. Now is the time to be aware of a culture that's free for our nation before it comes to an end. We are timeless people, so it's incomprehensible per se for us to meet our end. What has to end is the anomaly that is everyday society. You know what I mean? So just looking at how you apply it to that, you know, because you have to look at what is the basis of your culture, of your way of life. What are you basing it on? Your culture. What are you basing it on? Let's say that you're from one of the islands in the Caribbean, but yeah, you've never been. You don't even speak, let's say, the native tongue per se, or you're not even fully aware what was the original tongue before colonialism. What was the culture like? What was the flag like before that? You know what I mean? People, let's say, me, I'm so-called Dominican, and had conversations with many Dominicans, and they swear by that original flag is what we have now. The red, white, and blue, with the Holy Bible in the center with the cross. Like, are you serious? So, before Christianity, where were we? Because if we didn't have a flag, then what were we? We didn't exist? You don't think that came afterwards? You know, not paying attention to the names like Higüey, Macorís, Comate, Quisqueya, the name Quisqueya, Cacique, all these names that still are part of the native tongue of our people that was almost wiped out. You know, and not being biased. Looking at history for what it is and not what it appears to be. You know what I mean? This is what I'm saying about the basis of your culture and what is it that you're living. You know, when people ask me, oh, what's your nationality? It's just, I'm Caribbean. But for the level of understanding that they have, to give them a point of reference, I always say I'm so-called Dominican, you know? So, oh, that brother right over there, he's so-called Puerto Rican. That brother's so-called Cuban, whatever that is. Because those were not the natural names of those countries back then. It's almost been lost to history. So once you acknowledge that culture, you become free. You gain the power. Now you have power because you're aware of self. Power to make proper decisions. Proper to make the right moves. Proper to move when you deem it necessary, when you deem it appropriate. And this is what allows you to deal with the refinement process. Right? Because at one point in your life, you did not know. And you lived like a beast, a savage who had lost the knowledge of themselves. Or per se were born without the knowledge of themselves. And that refinement process is what helps us get back and unlock our genetic memory. Because there's many things out there we've been doing for thousands and thousands of years. Millions. That we still do, let's say, at a subconscious level nowadays. You know, and this ability to be able to do this is something beautiful. It is a hard process, but it's one that is necessary to get back to now. You know, it's almost like once our people were subjugated, our ancestors, it's like time stopped for us. In a sense that we're stuck in the way of thinking that they wanted us to think. We didn't progress. We adapted. You know, but us being able to progress naturally, everything has a Eurocentric flavor to it. If you get my drift, you know, looking towards Europe for say guide. I want to say guidance, but more of like as a point of reference. That's not right, because we have a lot of ancient cultures that existed way before them. Our cultures in the Caribbean existed way before them, and if we can get back to ourselves, because Europeans look to themselves, and that's what makes them, it's a great, it's that they can rely on their history. Yes, unfortunately for us, for our people, when you do the knowledge to how we live a way of life that we do now, you get to see that it has a lot to do with slavery and all that, right? And being able to acknowledge that, you have the freedom now to refine yourself to a better state, right? So don't ever forget that doing the knowledge to how you live in each and every day is important to do that now, all the time, now. All it takes is 5 minutes a day. So please subscribe. Please like the videos, leave a comment, leave a question, whatever it is that you would like to share, so we can build, man, because this is what it is for, right? It's the science of living mathematics, how to apply supreme mathematics and supreme alphabet practically on a daily. This is what this is for, just to teach. Each one teach one. And this is how we build a proper nation of righteousness, of proper education of self, not of revenge and getting back to the things that, that what they did to us, of our people. Nah, man. Freedom, justice, and equality. So with that, people, enjoy the rest of your glorious day. And I'm going to say peace.